All right. So today I will be talking about how ITDP responded to the public challenges in Cairo by conducting a BRT feasibility study and a gender inclusive analysis and planning. So just to give you a quick idea about ITDP, it's a global nonprofit organization established in 1985. And we work around the globe to promote equitable and sustainable, high quality public transport systems and policy solutions to government. So to give you an overview about Cairo streets, we are a city that has a population of 20 million. As these were pictures from during rush hours. As you can see, the public transport is all stuck in, and all vehicles are stuck there. And to help alleviate the congestion, like we started working in Cairo in 2018 because we found that people longer waiting time, trip times. Also, we don't have enough time of the day to do many activities, and of course, not to mention the CO2 emissions and the pollution resulting from such congestion. In Cairo, we have three metro lines, and there is a current metro line that is under construction. That's the, I would say, only rapid transit mode that we have currently. In addition to the other public transport buses, as you can see here, there are several of them in the picture. So, like when we first started working, we checked like the different the upcoming projects and the existing projects for. So we have the metro lines. There's also the monorail is under construction. And we also did a master plan for BRT in Cairo. And these were always because the current RTR rapid transit resident ratio is 4 in 2018, and we're hoping that by having other modes of public transport systems, rapid modes, that we would increase it by 2033 to 19. So to focus on the BRT corridor that we have been planning, it's a 5-kilometer corridor that connects between central Cairo to the outskirts of Cairo in 6th of October city. And it has 30 stations, 3 terminals, and 1 depot. This project we have been working on with UN Habitat and the Ministry of Housing. And the status of that project that the ministry is currently reviewing the procurement packages, and they're planning to tender it out hopefully by mid this year. Construction is estimated to take around 2 years. So we hope that 2 years from now, we would have the BRT operational here in Cairo. So for the planning process, we really started from scratch because the available public transport data were not much. So we have done passenger demand assessment, we have done corridor identification and selected that past corridor that I just viewed. We have prepared a service plan, also have done concept and detailed designs for the corridor. The last 2 steps that were concurrent, the financial model and the business and institutional plans. So as you can see here, this is a map of mapping of the public transport routes. We mapped almost 200 routes. And this is part of the data collection that helped inform the service plan, passenger transport volumes. We looked at the speeds, also at the different boardings and alightings in different areas. As I said, there was also a gender component that helped the design of the corridor. So we have done different types of surveys like frequency, occupancy, gender counts to count the number of passengers in each vehicle and distinguish them by gender. We have done operator interviews to assess the level of gender sensitivity awareness among the public transport operators. We have also conducted focus group discussions with the women and with people with disabilities, in addition to running physical assessment surveys to check or examine the current state of the streets. So this is one of the images for the focus that we have done with people with disabilities, and in fact, it was very informative and it helped a lot in the design of the corridor and the stations. The outcomes were really interesting for those studies. So we found out that 80% of women, they do not have driving license, and that 25% of women, of public transport users are women. You all know that most many studies actually that many groups are work related compared to women who had varied trips. And we found that 70% of passengers travel at least once to finish their entire trip. Regarding experience with harassment, we asked both men and women, and they both felt that women are unfairly harassed. Also, the surveys were done not only during the ride, but during all stages of the journey, where we find that 50% walk from their home to the nearest public transport vehicle. And just to give you an idea of how deep we went in interviewing women, like one of the women said in this group discussion that they said that sometimes they had resorted to the man organizing the bus stop, where they asked them to help find them a place in the microbus, and then passengers start calling them names or implying that they are having a secret relationship with that man. So this is how they got into the insights of how women feel insecure inside or along the ride in a public transport vehicle. Lastly, we found that women accompany their children outside the home in order to protect them from harassment. So this was also a very interesting outcome from the study. The feeling of insecurity, when we found which mode people felt most insecure, we found that they were the Cairo Transport Authority buses. There are 35-seaters buses. Most secured mode was the metro. The reason behind it is designated women's section, and this is why women felt most secured. Also, we checked or tested the feeling of insecurity by time of the day, and late night, of course, was the highest percentage. And women were trying to accompany them after the drive. Moving on, we also found that operator attitudes and behavior really contributed to the security of feeling of insecurity for women. Operator attitudes, whether regarding to the driving attitude or their behavior inside the vehicle. And also it's really not just about having a journey in a vehicle, but it's also about the complete journey. People do walk a lot from their homes to reach the station. So the presence of light and of shops in a street and how well lit it is, and people there really provide a very high sense of security, and that's what we should be looking into a BRT system. It's not just about segregated lanes there, but we should think about a complete street for the users. So completing on the BRT corridor, we had conducted the service plan. We found daily boardings are expected to be about 126,000 passengers and a fleet of 120 articulated buses. Those are four different kind of services that will be operating on the same route. We have also done the infrastructure design. This is one of the cross sections on one of the areas in the corridor. These are some renders for the station. How does it look like from inside and outside? This is one of the busiest streets in Cairo, in Giza. It's called Faisal Street. So this is how it looks. As you can see, most of the street consists of those small white microbuses. So imagine if we have done a segregated lane for public transport, I'm sure it would be faster for all users and more convenient. And this is how we hope that it would look like when we have the BRT there. So just very quickly looking into the business model. Like most of the fares would go into a fare collection company, and there's a trust fund where the system will be subsidized by the government, and then the trust fund will pay the remuneration to the bus operator company. We also looked at the institutional plan where we found the need for creating a BRT agency to look for the bus operation contracts, the fare collection, and also the station maintenance and security. And by that, I reached to the end of my presentation, and I welcome you all to the coming COP27 that will be here in Sharm el-Sheikh.